Hello, Shivangini. Welcome to the channel Kahanis Golden Bytes. Thank you for taking your time to be on the channel.
Thank you so much, Jovi sir. Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thank you. Shivangini, for the benefit of our viewers, may I please request you to give a little background about yourself, Shivangini?
Sure. I'm a student of music and a vocalist. Currently, I'm learning under Srimati Shubha Mudgalji. I'm learning Hindustani classical music from her, which itself is very diverse. It's got many subgenres in it. And I'm very fortunate that her style and her repertoire encompasses a lot of it, and a lot of that interests me. Before learning with Shubhaji, I have been fortunate to learn under late Srimati Girija Devi ji of the Banaras Gharana. I have learned Gurmat Sangeet, Gurbaani Shabad from Dr. Gursharan Kaur, Mrs. Ranjit Kaur, and Western contemporary vocals from Yeashu Yuvraj. So in terms of training and influence, these are my teachers and my gurus.
So that's so deep and wide. I know we won't have enough time to cover all aspects, but try and cover as much as we can in the little time that we have, Shivangini. Thank you for that, Shivangini. And Shivangini, let me start early on. When did you realize that you love music? When did you start? I mean, was it in school? Or was it much later?
Well, yes, in childhood, but it's really difficult to put a certain, date or period to it, because I was being brought up in a music-loving family, like so many other families. We used to have a monthly kirtan in the house. My family they follow the Arya Samaj tradition, and my mother specifically, she was learning music. I have vivid memories of her music lessons happening at home. In fact, she tells me that she was expecting me while she was taking music exams. So I guess, and I think I used to sing what I used to hear her learning, and but quite formally, technically, I started learning in school in class 9th and 10th. I must have been 15 and 16. Those 2 years is when I got really pulled in and really attracted to especially Hindustani Rag Sangeet. And in whatever concise manner that it was possible for the school among so many other subjects and curriculum. My school, Seth Anandram Jaipuria School in Kanpur, at that time had a great faculty and instilled this in me. So yeah, I think that was a very solid point of leaning towards it. I didn't take music too seriously all the time. Those 2 years, like I said, 9th and 10th were really, they pulled me in. But after that, there was a break for a couple of years. Then I also moved out of Kanpur after class 10, so at the age of 16, 17, and tried to find a teacher, and I found one in Dr. Gursharan Kaur. I wanted to take Hindustani classical music exams under her, but I also ended up learning Gurbaani, Gurmat Sangeet from her and Mrs. Ranjit Kaur. Then it so happened that one summer, I think I was in second year of college, I was studying English honors at Shivangini College. And one of my relatives happened to really push me to apply for a scholarship by Spic Mekke. This is called the Gurukul Scholarship. And I got to stay with in the residence of late Srimati Girija Devi ji. That's how I met her. We, 3 of us who were selected, stayed with her and learned with her for a month to start with. And after that, my relationship with her was very memorable 10 years. I was also working alongside. I got married, and a few months after that, or I think maybe a year after that, is when I decided to pursue music full time. So it's really difficult to put that, technology is not very linear.
Absolutely. And Shivangini, experimented with even Gurbaani. I mean, not experimented, you went rather deep into Gurbaani and, Hindustani classical in different genres also, right? Thumri and Khyal, different kind of genres too, right? You weren't restricting yourself. You were learning different styles too.
Yes, I'm learning different styles, Joby sir, and I would say it's really like I've just dipped my feet because the knowledge and the practices, the tradition is so rich, so vast. But yes, Gurbaani, yes. I am learning Rag Sangeet with Shubhaji. So Khayal is the dominant form of Hindustani classical music. And Thumri Dadra, of course, I fell in love with Thumri Dadra, and especially its folk roots, mostly when I was exposed to Gilcha Devi ji's music. And Shubhaji is also deep into Thumri Dadra, other than a Khayal, and so many other styles that she sings in and composes in. So also being from the Hindi belt, from Uttar Pradesh, probably linguistically and also culture-wise, some of the songs and some of the repertoire kind of resonated with me, I'd like to believe. But it's really like, I would say it's really dipping my feet into it right now.
As you said, it's so rich, so deep, and in each of these areas, right? And each of these styles and genres are very complex by itself, right? By
Yes.
itself, very complex. So in the middle of all the Shivangini, you also mentioned Western music. On the vocals, you experimented with that. You studied that too.
Yes, that also, it wasn't part of my design really. It so happened that my partner, Yeshu, who was then a full-time teaching musician, now he's not an active musician. But this was, I think, a natural way for us to learn from each other. And since he was a full-time coach, and I was a vocalist too, from the Hindustani side of the area, I wanted to learn, and I think it naturally so happened that, so I ended up learning about voice production, voice anatomy, breathing, as part of the Western contemporary vocals training, took the rock school RSL awards exams. We were, in fact, both of us ended up teaching at Performance Collective School of Music in Gurgaon, and a lot of my friends in music in the Delhi NCR are because of that place, that the school.
So that's amazing. So and you're a licentiate from the Rock School of Music, right? From
Yes,
London?
licentiate in performance. Yes.
Okay. So that's amazing. How you just brush it aside. Licentiate is, you need to be at a very high level of, your capability has to be so high for you to clear those kind of exams. And, so it just shows how good you are in whatever you attempt to do. And Shivangini, you have on one side Hindustani classical, you've done Gurbaani, and here's Western, vocals again, contemporary. So you enjoy all of these, Shivangini?
Yes, I enjoy all of these, but currently I would say that I am practicing more of the Hindustani side of the music. Of course, like I said, the Western contemporary training has helped me to a very large, it has been a route for me to understand voice better. Currently, I'm not actively practicing it. In fact, I'm not even teaching it as of now. Up till a year back, I was teaching both styles. But I'm sure it's influencing me, hopefully, in many ways. I'm also in the process of releasing a song this year. So I believe these two sides, or the several influences, are going to come together.
So Shivangini, what are you, you're also trying to expand, in the public domain, trying to expand people's appreciation for this kind of music. Is that right? Shivangini, are you?
Yes, yes. And I would say not, I mean, this kind of music, meaning different kinds of music that I'm interested in. I often do folk fusion live sets, which involve mostly songs from the Hindi belt in Awadhi, Braj, and Bhojpuri. And I'm joined by talented musicians on the keyboard, on the guitar, sometimes on sarod. Um, Tabla or various different instruments, and uh, many of these songs are connected to the cycle of seasons that the subcontinent that we experience in the subcontinent. So in fact, I also document these seasons and try to first of all tune into them and then document. I'm joined by my friend Isha Priya Singh. We document this together. uh, Earlier informally, but recently we co-wrote a paper, our first paper, and presented it at a webinar organized by Jamia Millia Islamia University. So that was good fun. I mean, these are different sites. So these are different ways of studying and, or let's say, sharing about our interests, if we can call it promotion or of these genres. Yeah.
And Shivangini, what about the Baithak, the Baithak experience? What about that? You're a co-founder there.
Yes, that was a passion project that took place before COVID. The Byte experience is actually it was an initiative to revive traditional house Baithaks, house concerts for traditional Indian music mainly. My partner in it, Shweta Hatangadi Kilpadi, who's also a singer. Both of us stay in Gurgaon, and we realized that for traditional Indian music, we have to drive to Delhi and spend about 4 hours on the road to listen to 1 hour of a concert. So we wanted to kind of do something here in Gurgaon. So this took place. The first edition, first season had 6 editions, and it took place in different houses of hosts and patrons who supported each Baithak. And we encouraged the attendees, the Rasiks, to contribute financially, so that this could self-sustain itself. But that was the first edition, and then COVID happened. So even till now, we can't imagine like 50, 60 people in a house, even 30, 40 people in an apartment and have that. But those were good times.
But that was a good start. I mean, it's got a temporary, speed breaker at the moment, but it started off, and
it was very rewarding to hear and be able to organize that kind of music, be part of something like that. The Byte experience also has, I would say, for me personally, it has roots in these Bytes that are held by Mr. Vinod Kapoor in Gurgaon. He is one of the very well-known music patrons in India and in the north, and especially in the Delhi region. So he holds something called the VSK Beta, which, and I've worked for him for about 3 years, and managed and led his Pura Bangaiki Utsav, a Tumri festival, and Girija Devi Puraskar. So after having worked with him, and a few years after that is when the Baitak experience happened. So I think I owe it to VSK Baitak also.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, it's just the start of a big movement. That's the way I see it. COVID has, like I said, just been a small bump for some time. But so Shivangini, now COVID played spoil sport. Starting with the Baithak experience. So how has that impacted your work and the way you were going about it?
Yes, COVID changed a lot for a lot of us. I mean, for me, I realized that, by the way, I think I've taught the most, maximum number of hours during COVID. A lot of grown-ups who were otherwise working in office, and during COVID they were working from home, suddenly had this extra time to invest in something they wanted to do and a hobby like music. So I taught a lot of grown-ups, engaged with them. For the first time, I took group lessons with them online. I was able to organize a folk music workshop to teach folk songs from Uttar Pradesh. A lot of my talim happened during COVID and online. Shubhaji was teaching us online. We had student concerts in a way. There's Guru Purnima every year. So that's one student concert, and then there were different online baithaks among students that happened. So a lot of initiatives, learnings from our three gurus, Shubha Mudgal ji, Anish Pradhan ji, and Sudhir Nayak ji, and all their students. It was that's the learning part. I ended up doing three very interesting things during COVID, other than teaching and learning. In the conventional sense, teaching and learning. One is I got selected for a residency, which fortunately or unfortunately happened only virtually because of COVID. It's called One Beat. It's an initiative of the US Department of State of Education and Cultural Affairs. And I was fortunate to attend that. It was a 2-month program. Musicians from all over the world attended it, and it was a huge eye-opener. That happened. There's something called OC in a minute, original composition in a minute, that I tried to bring on Instagram in collaboration with a spoken word artist, Anamika Joshi, and also collaborated with a few musicians, Yeashu, my partner, and Archit Anand on piano. And we came out with 5 song ideas. And one of them is the one that I want to develop into a full song and release this year. And one more thing, I call this the Resound series. These are voice and resonance sessions that I started conducting first for my students or people who knew me, and they were meditative, really grounding sessions for about 20 minutes using our breath and voice and focusing on resonance. So I ended up doing that for about 500-600 people also, during COVID. So these were new things that happened during COVID, one after the other. And taught me a lot.
That is just amazing to hear. That's amazing to hear. I know the viewers would like to know a lot more about you, but what I'll do is I'll put some of your YouTube channel and your other links so that people know a lot more about you and the work that you're doing. So you're talking about the OC in a minute. Is it possible for you to just share a link? I could just put at the end of the clip. Can you do that?
Yes, sure. I'll do that.
Okay, lovely. And what's it called, Shivangini? Has it got a name as yet?
Yes. It's been written by Anamika Joshi. She's the lyricist, and I have performed it with Archit Anand, who's an amazing pianist, who's also arranged the keys in this song. In fact, the three of us and Yeashu, who helps in all my musical endeavors, shaping them. So together we are going to develop this into a full song. This is a 1-minute song idea. Currently it's called Zindagi Ke Is Shor Mein, but I think we'll end up calling it Apni Dhun Na Khona. That's the next part of the line.
So lovely. Thank you once again, Shivangini, for taking your time to be on the channel. Thank you very much, and wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
जिंदगी के इस शोर में, जिंदगी के इस शोर में तू अपनी धुन ना खोना, धुन ना खोना। कान गड़ाए बैठा है, हाँ खुशी का कोना, तेरी खुशी का कोना, जिंदगी के इस शोर में